conversations off air in the man cave on how do they figure out these. And they were pretty close for the most part for the 4 games. They seemed to predict them pretty decently. The Renegades were favored over the Battlehawks, but other than that game, I think that all of them went the way Vegas thought. Maybe not by the right number of points, but it was still impressive that they were able to even pick them, not knowing a whole lot other than practices. I have to mention the Capitals are on the power play. There's 42 seconds left on this power play. 3:11 left in the second period.
Well, yeah, Rob, they actually had more than practice. I was watching the game, the Defenders game, and apparently they did have some exhibition games because apparently the Defenders in Seattle played in the preseason or exhibition, and they had some animosity during that game, which trickled out to the game this past weekend. So they did have some like exhibition games. So I guess that's probably how they helped figure out the line on these games.
Yeah, as you mentioned that.
Somebody dropped the F-bomb on TV.
Oh man, the live mics are going to be the death of the XFL because they also dropped the MF bomb too. So they're going to do something about those live mics. They have to get that 5-second delay or something because if not, the FCC going to have fun finding them all season.
So TJ Oshie just hung out at the Ovechkin office and got his 21st goal of the season, bringing the Capitals within 2. It's a power play goal. His 233rd goal of his career. It brings it within 2. It's now Washington 3, Islanders 5. 3 minutes left, and there's still 27 seconds in the power play. Why is that? Was it a major or is it a TV glitch? I'll let you know.
We're winning this game, man. We're winning this game.
Interesting. So I'm curious if this power play is actually still happening or if NBC. Oh no, it went away. Okay, so NBC Sports Washington was just a little slow on the uptake. All right, that's fine. I'll take the goal and from TJ Oshie, and he joined. I think we've got 3 20-goal scorers on our team, 3 or 4. So that's really good. All right, so I'm pretty excited about the Defenders. I think that there's definitely a lot that we'll break into next week. I hope that the Capitals find a way to come back in this game. I'm going to let our panel have one final thought, each one of them, before we let them go, and then Carol, I'll let you close up the episode. Tim, we'll start with you. Any final thoughts before we let you go tonight?
No, I just think Cardale's a big-time quarterback. We know he can win a championship in a red jersey. I think he's going to do it again. I'm going to go ahead and guarantee the XFL championship because there's no consequences anyway if they don't. So
I like it. Tim's been paying attention to our podcast very closely, clearly. Thank you, Tim, for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Guys.
All right, so the next person we're going to let go is Brian Brennan. Brian, let us know your final thoughts. I know that we'll be playing both the Knicks and your Guardians this week, so it's a big week for Washington versus New York.
Yeah, I just want to say let's go Knicks, let's go Guardians, and hopefully New York gets 2 wins over DC, but it's all love at the end of the day for everybody in DC and Sports on the Hill. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for having me on, Robbie.
Thank you. All right, Arun, what are your final thoughts of the evening?
Yeah, the XFL is doing pretty well in Seattle. They just sold out their tickets for this game in 6 hours, and congratulations to Giannis Antetokounmpo for his first son being born, Liam. And that's it. Thanks for having me on.
Sounds good. Thank you for joining us. And the last member of our team is Ken, DC People Champ. Let people know, do you have an episode coming up this Friday? And if so, what are you guys talking about?
Yes, indeed. We have an episode of No Spots Podcast this Friday, and big news. We just posted on our fan page that the original tag team of the No Spots Podcast, Chris Kazama, will be on for the second hour of the podcast to talk about Fight Club Pro Wrestling, the newest independent wrestling promotion in D.C. They're having their second show this coming Saturday. He will be on for the entire second hour to talk about that, and we're going to talk about all of that this coming Friday as well as the week that was in wrestling. So I'm very excited for this Friday, and I'm very excited for this Saturday, the Fight Club Pro Wrestling crowning their first ever Pan-African We're they asked for a champion. It's a championship dedicated and created for all African American wrestlers. So I'm very excited for that.
Sounds great. I look forward to finding out more about it on the show. No Spots Podcast, Friday. Catch DC's People Champ right there. Ken, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Holla.
All right, and with that, Carol, we've had fit a full show. I tried to fit it in before 8:45. I'm just under the wire, so it was a lot to talk about. Hopefully the Caps find a way to come back in this game. Any final thoughts from you before we end this show tonight?
As I said, I think the Caps are going to come back and win this game. They came back against the Islanders not too long, a couple of weeks ago when they came back and scored, I believe it was 3 goals. They were down in the last minute of the game with 2 6-on-5 goals. The XFL, definitely we're going to be bringing you more coverage. We're working on, as I say, getting the press credentials. I'm working on getting another analyst on the air to break down the XFL and give you guys some different perspectives from different folks in the DMV sports media, because we do have connections like that, because that's what we do here at Sports on the Hill podcast on TruRadio Network. We're deep. We roll with a lot of different folks, a lot of different things behind the scenes that you don't know about, so you never know who you might see or hear on this show. Team SportsOTHP is deep. Make sure you go check out the website, SportsOTHP.com. Go check out the Beats by CP3 on SoundCloud. You heard the track by Brian Hart during the music break, which I'm going to play in a little while when we get ready to sign off, because I'm working on the remix with a couple of local DMV rap artists. So if you got any music, I rarely do this, but because I'm dibble-dabbling in the music game, if you got any music, got some love for what you do, you got a craft, send it to me. Go check out my page, CP3. Just Google me. It pops up. Send me your music. We can talk. We're going to have some new music coming soon on the music break from a rock band from one of my Facebook friends that sent me some music, so stay tuned. You got some music. We'll play it through our music break, hub you, and, it is what it is. But that's what we do here on Sports on the Hill podcast on TruRadio Network. We appreciate y'all listening as always. Hopefully y'all checking out the Caps game. Let's go Caps, because they're going to win this. I predicted it. It's going to happen. Tune in next week, or you might see something pop up on my Facebook Live feed. You never know. But y'all have a good night. Check out the track, Submissive by Brian Hart, Radio Ready, and produced by Beats by CP3. Y'all have a good night, and we out.
If you want to check that out, you can always check it out on the website. You can always check the final, listen to it, or you can check it out. That was earlier. We had the music break. But we really appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight to another special episode of Sports on the Hill podcast. It was episode 181. It was a lot of fun. We talked about a lot of different topics. We're going to end this stream here. But we really appreciate everyone for tuning in. We've got a lot to talk about. We'll talk hockey next week, including the live game versus the Golden Knights. We'll recap those 2 Wizards games, as well as talking a little bit maybe about the All-Star break, and then what we're expecting from the Wizards out of the All-Star break. And then we'll talk about the DC Defenders against the New York Guardians. We'll try to have Brian back on to talk a little bit of New York perspective on that, and maybe even have a new couple of guests as well. We're continuing with our DC Defenders talk, and hope that you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments if you're enjoying the DC Defenders. We'll definitely try to bring more fan interaction in as we talk about them more, and hopefully we'll get to cover them live in the game in the upcoming future. So thanks for tuning in to episode 181. This is Robbie G signing off. Have a good night. Let's go Caps. Let's go Wizards. Let's go DC Defenders.